All right, this one's pretty interesting. Donald Trump was recently interviewed by conservative reporter Cheryl Atkinson, and then Trump visibly died inside when Atkinson dared broach the subject of the so-called Epstein files related to deceased human trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, who was both a friend of Donald Trump's at one point and who died under mysterious circumstances in prison when Donald Trump was president and in charge of Epstein's safety. But before we unpack all that, if you had liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I want to play this clip here. We've actually discussed a previous interview that Trump had with Atkinson before the election, before he became president. And again, she's a conservative reporter, I think, based out of Florida. She tends to ask softball questions, but every now and then she'll lob a softball at him, and somehow Trump will still get hit in the face with it. And this is when the topic turns to Jeffrey Epstein. And I want you to note his tone, his face, how he answers the question, and what he refuses to say. You see, he's like sweating, and he keeps repeating himself. And you know, it's Kennedy, the files of Kennedy. Kennedy's the one that everybody wants to know about. You know, Kennedy, that Kennedy guy, you know, that President John F. Kennedy. Those are the files. Like, those are some big files. The Kennedy files are really the ones that everybody wants. Can we please change the subject? So funny, he doesn't want to touch Epstein with a 10-foot pole. And it reminded me, of course, of this infamous interview on Fox and Friends weekend that Trump had, again, during the election season, during the campaign, but before the election. Trump was asked about the Epstein files, the JFK files, the 9/11 files, and others. But again, the EP files as well, and I want you to see his response from several months ago, because it's totally commensurate with the sort of nervousness that you just saw.
Is to declassify things that everyone's talking about. I know you talked earlier about it. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. So if you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these.
Yeah.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least
do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
9/11 files, yeah. JFK files, yeah. Epstein files, yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not. The Epstein files, I mean, like, there's just so much, like, and really who, like, wants to know about the Epstein F? So funny that Donald Trump is, like, so transparent in this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find another article here in real time. You start thinking about these things, and it's like, there's so many things come to mind. There was a really good New Yorker article I should have had pulled up, which goes into the timeline of the long relationship that Donald Trump had with Jeffrey Epstein. Probably be too long to read here in this video. But again, what we're seeing is Donald Trump visibly nervous and hedge when it comes to the release of the so-called files and documents pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein, deceased human trafficker. You know, I think he was a billionaire. I don't, if he's a multi-billionaire who socialized with Hollywood elite liberals and conservatives. But yes, Donald Trump, they had a years-long friendship. They've been photographed beside each other. Trump's been in interviews saying Jeffrey likes him young, which is really sinister when you consider what we eventually learned about Jeffrey Epstein and Pam Bondi, Donald Trump's attorney general. I mean, MAGA has been demanding the release of these files, and Pam Bondi said you're going to get them. Well, it's not happening, and now Senate Democrats are pouncing, and rightly so. Senate Democrats question Pam Bondi's motives and Epstein documents. Release the Senate. The Democratic Senate Judiciary Committee's accounts flagged that the attorney who handled Ghislaine Maxwell's case was put on leave. Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee are applying pressure to Attorney General Pam Bondi over her bungled rollout of government files related to Jeffrey Epstein, the late alleged sex trafficker, whose list of high-profile associates included Donald Trump Health and Human Services, Secretary RFK Jr., and former President Bill Clinton Bondi's highly anticipated rollout of revelatory Epstein documents landed as a dud, even among some conspiratorial right-wingers. You recall we did a video about this, right, the day that the Epstein files were supposed to be released. Binders were given to right-wing influencers like Libs of TikTok at the White House total. Disingenuous total show. Even Laura Lomer, the Ard MAGA cultist close associate of Donald Trump, was like, this is BS. This was mismanaged. This was dishonest. It suggests something far more sinister. So again, she caught flack for it when they failed to provide any new information. Bondi has since claimed to have uncovered another cache of documents in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and said the Justice Department would need to go through them to redact certain details for national security reasons and to protect victims online. Democrats have accused Bondi of withholding documents and raised questions about whether she's conspiring to use her promised document, dumped to protect Trump or his associates, even suggesting her recent decision to place a top Justice Department official on leave may be related to the Epstein case. Senate Judiciary Democrats' exact account drew attention to Bondi's sidelining of Andrew Rohrabach, a prosecutor who worked on the federal cases against both New York Mayor Eric Adams and Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Quote, Pam Bondi just put the attorney who successfully prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell on leave, the account posted on Monday. It quoted a thread from the previous week that highlighted Trump and Kennedy's relationships with Epstein. What are they hiding? It is interesting, and I guess we'll click this link, a thread. Trump official Alex Ayosta gave EP a suite at the Hart deal when he was a U.S. attorney. Trump official RFK Jr. was a friend of Epstein and flew on his private plane twice. Trump advisor Elon Musk was subpoenaed in the Epstein investigation. Trump was president when Epstein died in federal prison. Trump himself, quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's got a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. Both Pam Bondi and Kash Patel talked a big game about releasing the Epstein files. What are they waiting for? It's a pretty reasonable question. And again, it goes into details about a bit more of the history between Trump and RFK Jr. and Epstein. As soft as this resistance from Democrats may seem, launched via social media posts and not apparently in the halls of Congress, which, by the way, they should be bringing it up relentlessly. Jared Moskowitz, a more moderate, if not centrist Democrat from Florida, whose recent decisions I disagree with immensely, but he is a firebrand when it comes to rhetoric and wit, and putting Democrats on the offense in Congress against the Republican counterparts. He brought it up. We've played that clip a gazillion times. He even had a giant poster board of Epstein and Trump hugging side by side from like the 90s or the early 2000s, and he actually addressed it on the floor of Congress. There needs to be more of that. It does appear to be the most sustained effort by Democrats in any official capacity to bring attention to Trump and his associates' ties to Epstein, which is noteworthy given Democrats' rather odd decision to cede the field on the topic to far-right influencers who might attempt to use the files to attack Democrats linked to Epstein, like former President Bill Clinton or former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson. For whatever reason, Democrats have reached a point where they don't seem comfortable letting Bondi or Trump's Justice Department frame the story. Nor should they. Democrats should be relentless in this. Again, people have noted that Attorney General Bondi says more EPAN files are coming, but doesn't give a time frame. That's kind of sus. Jared Mossett was going to play a clip here, was asked about it recently. But again, they're just, making fun of Pam Bondi about Trump's Epstein connection. But listen, this is a valid form of attack. This is a valid line of attack, and Democrats need to flex their rhetorical muscle and play the game ruthlessly. Donald Trump has salacious ties to one of the most sinister figures in modern American history, Jeffrey Epstein, one of the most controversial ones, lines of attack for Democrats, and it's good to see that they're starting to turn that temperature up. They need to do so even more and relentlessly in one voice, because it is possible that Attorney General Pam Bondi and Donald Trump will gain the ref, so to speak, and redact. They can say, redact for national security purposes. But how the hell would we ever find out if the black bars are there blocking out the text? It wouldn't be the first time that a Trump Attorney General like Bill Barr attempted to frame a really bad report for Donald Trump in Trump's favor, like Bill Barr did with the Mueller report. So again, people should be asking questions, and they should be doing it in one voice. And again, just love to see the sort of sweaty, nervous reaction from Trump. Anytime Epstein's name is brought up. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.